Hello, welcome to Earth Week. We're leading up the week before Earth Day, and we're going to be talking about some fun ways that you can help with the environment and read some fun stories that celebrate plants and animals. We're sitting near the flowers because we're going to read Miss Rumphius today with Mrs. Butterfly, who loves flowers. Miss Rumphius was passed down to me from my grandma, who really loved this story, so it's very special to me. The Lupin Lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupin Lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. She could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now she worked in a shop at the bottom of a house, making figureheads for the prows of ships and carving Indians out of wood to put on the front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. That's very nice that she's painting. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live by the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," her grandfather said, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what she could do or she could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and she washed her face and ate her porridge for breakfast. She went to school and she came home and she did her homework. And pretty soon, she was all grown up. Then my great Aunt Alice set out to do 3 things she had told her grandfather that she was going to do. She left home and she went to live in another city, far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. Sometimes she went to an old conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, but not quite. So Miss Rumphius went to a tropical island where she met cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on the long beaches picking up beautiful shells. One day she met Bapa Raja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. My great-aunt, Miss Alice Rumphius, climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping, and everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I have certainly seen faraway places, and maybe it's time for me to find my place by the sea." And it was, and she did. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up, She watched it cross across the heavens and sparkle on the water, and saw it set in the glory of the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "But there is still one more thing that I must do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world a more beautiful place." "But what? The world is already pretty nice," she thought, looking out over the ocean. Let's see what she does. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed, in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupins," said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. "I have always loved lupins the best. I wish that I could plant more seeds this summer so that I'll have still more flowers next year." But she was not able to. After a hard winter came, Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again, and one afternoon she started to go up and over a hill, where she had not been for a very long time. "I don't believe my eyes," she cried when she got to the top, for there on the other side of the hill was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupins. "It was the wind," she said as she knelt in delight. "It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden all the way over to here. And the birds must have helped too." Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. Oh, what do you think her idea is? She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off for the very best house for 5 bushels of lupin seeds. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands and went sowing lupins. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them across the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt as much anymore. Now people called her "that crazy old lady." The next spring, there were lupins everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay at the schoolhouse and the back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third, the most difficult thing of all. Was she making the world a better place? I think so. My great-aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is white. Every year there are more and more lupins. Now they call her the Lupin Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside of her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the field of lupins. And when she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too want to go to faraway places and have a home by the sea. "That is all very well, little Alice," says my aunt, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" I ask. "You must do something to make the world a more beautiful place." "All right," I say. The end. Oh, but I do not yet know what that can be. If you want to change the world and you don't yet know how, that's okay. There's time and you can figure it out. So remember those 3 things: travel, live by the sea, and of course, make the world a better place.